Am I really going to do this? Yes? Hello friends, hi. It's me, Bree Buonomo, and I think I'm gonna do something a little crazy. It's probably not that crazy to be honest, but I think I'm gonna enter a mentorship program. So how did I get here? In where I last left you guys, I finished my second draft. Well, it is March 12th, and I have started draft 3. I have edited the first 2 chapters. I feel like they're very solid. And when I was at writing club, I was very, very unfocused. My concentration level was not there. It was also 60 degrees that day, and I was trapped in my office all day, and then going to writing club, which I love. It just, I think I was feeling squirrely. So I was editing. I did edit the 2 chapters while I was there, and then I decided to mess around. So I decided to click on Reddit. And I don't go on Reddit a ton. Sometimes I do. I follow a lot of writing stuff on Reddit. I also follow a lot of therapy stuff on Reddit. Those are my 2 lives. But I decided that I wanted to just click on Reddit because I was procrastinating. And I felt like maybe it was a sign, because there used to be so many Twitter contests back in the day. And because of that, some of them I have followed on other platforms, but I'm just never really caught up on when these things are happening. And one of them, because Twitter contests don't really exist anymore because everybody left Twitter. So one of them kind of has an active subreddit, which is RevPit. It's also called Revise and Resubmit. And it is a contest where you basically work very short term with a mentor. It's only an 8-week stint. So if you get chosen, you work very closely with an editor, author, agent, whoever this person, your mentor is. They give you developmental edits and you work on them in 8 weeks, and then you go in front of an agent showcase. So I followed this a long time ago. I think I was going to initially put my prophecy project, my high fantasy, steampunk, light book that I wanted to query, and I didn't end up submitting to it, and I didn't really follow much about it since then. But lo and behold, I opened Reddit and I saw that it's this week. So today is March 12th, and it opens tomorrow, March 13th, and it ends on March 16th. And that's just to submit your things. So I have been looking into this, and it's one of those things where I'm I really did want to make draft 3 of my book before I got it out to readers and stuff like that. And, I could still do that. I don't have to do this contest. But I feel like it was it had to be a sign, right? Why did my brain go onto Reddit for the first time in months and just happened to see that was the first thing, and it started this week? I don't know. So call me spiritual, call me crazy. I'm just gonna go for it, I think. So that means I have to write a synopsis. And I do have a draft of it. I'm gonna work on it, I think, tonight. I hate synopses. They're my least favorite things. And if you don't know, in the writing sphere, a synopsis isn't it's not your query. It's not the back of the book that you would see in a store. It's literally a summary of your book. So you have to condense it under 1,000 words. That is so hard, and it stresses me out so much. So I'm gonna work on that, because otherwise I have everything else. I want to edit my query one more time and make sure that feels good to me. I haven't touched it since the query contest I did last November. And I want to do my synopsis, and I just read my first pages, my 5 pages. So those feel good as well. The thing that I didn't realize is I didn't scroll enough. I saw that I needed all that, and I was oh wow, they're gonna pick a novel based on your query package. But no, you actually do need to submit your manuscript as well, which is why I was kind of should I do this? It's not draft 3 edited. It is edited. It's been, like I said, edited 1.5 times because I manually wrote through it and I then edited the whole thing. But you know what? I'm nothing if I'm not a sucker for a contest. So I think I'm just gonna do it. Whatever. If I don't get it, I don't get it. Nothing happens, right? But if I somehow miraculously get picked, whoa, right? So I don't know how many people are gonna enter this. I don't know what my odds are. I don't even know if my book is really ready for a mentorship. But that would be really cool. And honestly, I think there is something with this novel that I know where to get it to, but I think having an editor on it could just be like, change the game, you know? Because I think my story, it makes sense now. It's a little bit more fleshed out. It's a little bit more prettier, but to make my themes, I think it would be really cool to have like fresh eyes to make sure that I'm hitting the themes and I'm hitting the things properly, like the hard stuff that I'm talking about, and making sure it's all the way through. So anyway, I'm rambling, but I don't know if this is going to see the light of day. This might just be me talking to a camera right now and filing it away. But I figured if I'm going to do this, I might as well document it. And if it fails, then maybe you'll never see this again, you know? And I'll never bring it up. But yeah, that's where we're at. So it's like 7:30 right now, and I don't have a lot of time tonight, but I think my goal is to work on the synopsis tonight. And then that way I can work on the query next, and then I can get everything done and formatted with how they want me to format it. Because I do, in fact, need to have certain standards in the manuscript and everything else. So yeah, okay. That's it for me. I'll let you know where we're at. Okay, bye. Hi, it is 7 o'clock in the morning on Saturday the 15th, and my husband's still asleep. I've been up since 5, and I didn't jump right into writing, but I need to, because my brain, it's been a long 2 days. I have been out both nights, Thursday and Friday. I have barely been home. It's not my jam, to be honest. And because I haven't gotten home till like 9 or 9:30, I didn't have any time to write the last 2 days, which means that if I'm going to enter this contest, I have to do everything today, especially if I'm sending it to anybody to review, because I thought I had the full 2 days, today and tomorrow. I don't. The contest closes at noon tomorrow. So I'm going to work. I know I look like a hot mess and I don't even care. I'm going to power through this. So wish me luck. I'll check in later. Hello guys. It is now 11 o'clock in the morning. So I have been working and I feel good about what I've done. So now that I'm coherent and I've had my coffee and I've showered, I did a rough draft of the synopsis. To be honest, I know I should like have my best foot forward with everything in the query package, but at this point, I know the synopsis is always my weakest. I don't know what to do all the time. But I did the rough draft this morning, and then I went over, and I've already done 2 query letters. I've gotten feedback on both versions, so I decided to try to compile the feedback and create a 3rd version that I will submit. So I'm not gonna lie though, it was a little bit hard because I had posted my first version on Reddit and surprisingly got a decent amount of feedback. A good feedback, like it was positive, but they had like good things to like point out to strengthen. And I had used that to create my version 2, which is what I submitted into the query contest last year. And then of course I was hoping to get like stronger feedback from the query contest because I made it into the semifinals, but they only gave rubric scores. So there was no extra things. So I kind of had to like piece together from the rubric scores what I could possibly do to strengthen it. And it was really weird because the first round, like the entry round, I got 66 out of 70 possible points, which is great. But the main thing that they knocked me for was my bio. So I went in and I definitely like strengthened the bio. I talked about my master's degree and being a counselor, as well as like my short fiction and being in the query contest to give myself a little bit like more well-roundedness, because it really was just like my short fiction was published in Havoc in the Stygian Society. And that was it, because with the contest, I had a word limit and I couldn't add more. And I wanted my query to be bulked up rather than my bio. And that was a choice that I definitely made going into the query contest. So I bulked that up, and I knew I was going to bulk it up no matter what. Like even querying, if I wasn't going to enter the mentorship program at all, eventually I would have beefed that up. Like I knew I had to. But what was interesting is that when I got the semifinalist feedback, I noticed that one of them, there was 2 judges and they gave separate forms. One of them gave me a 10 out of 10 for my bio. Go figure. Everybody else in the contest, like the 3, so I've had 3 rubrics. 2 of the 3 rubrics was like, you need to beef this up more. The one gave me a 10 out of 10. It was funny. But because of that, like I had one that was like 8s across the board with that 110 for my bio. And then the other one was like 4s across the board. And they were like not happy with anything I did. They didn't think that I had a catchy enough first like line. They didn't think I was clear or concise enough. Like it was very strange. So I tried to be like, okay, what could I take from that? Like what feedback, even though like other people didn't agree, like what could I make it that like might appease this person? So I decided to keep my first line. I still think my first line is good and I am not going to change it. But I did clarify some things in the first paragraph, and I also just became blunt. I basically came up front that she is an addict, and she is like, this whole thing spirals because her mother steals her pain pills. So I was kind of tiptoeing around that in the first query, and I think that could be why people were a little bit confused on wording or thought I could clarify. So I just went, you're right. You know, maybe people don't understand the word server because that's like more modern age than waitress or waiter. So I just changed it to waitressing. Like, okay, that's a semantic, you know? So I changed it to waitressing. I was pretty clear that we are talking about like drug addiction, and yeah, so I feel really good. I got 2 other writers to look at it, and both of them also thought it was really strong. So like I said, when going into the query contest, I already thought my query was strong last year. So now I feel like I made it just a little bit stronger again. And I feel like I'm good. I'm going to probably read it one more time before I submit it, but I think the query letter is good. The synopsis, on the other hand, I am going to do it one more edit, and then I'm going to send it to the 2 writer friends as well, just to look over one more time. And there's like resources on RevPit's website for like how to write things. So I'm going to go look at the synopsis because it has been a couple years since I've written a synopsis. And the last one that I wrote, I did get professionally edited. They didn't really offer like how to write a synopsis if they thought my synopsis was well written. Like they didn't really offer anything. So like I wrote it and they gave me editing feedback, but it was more like line editing versus like your content makes sense. Like this is how a synopsis should be written. So I don't really know what I'm doing. So I'm going to go do that. So that's where we're at this morning. I am freaking out a little bit. So I think I'm feeling half good now, but the synopsis is like, you know, a little bit weird. So anyway, long story short, I'm leaving to go out with my husband and do a couple errands in the afternoon. I would like to get my synopsis out to my readers for some feedback before I leave. So I have about an hour to do that. So I'm going to shut up now. I'm going to stop talking and we're going to go do the thing. Hi guys. Just an update. It's about 7:30 right now on Saturday. I think my query letter is good. I think my 5 pages are good. I decided that I was going to do just a spell check through my document since I can't like fully edit everything. And I think that's taking a lot longer than I was hoping for. But this is life. This is what I do when I procrastinate and decide to do things last minute. As my friend said, that's my Sagittarius energy, I guess. But I think I'm still gonna be able to do it. I want to read my synopsis over one more time. I think it's probably gonna be as good as it gets still, but I have one more person I'm waiting for feedback on, just in case there's anything that stands out. So I think I'm gonna like edit this one more time and then just try to again go through the document itself and make sure that I have no major issues, spelling errors, grammar, stuff like that. But then I think I'll probably just submit it tomorrow morning. We'll see how far I get. I did say that I think I wanted to take a break and maybe play some video games tonight, so I guess we'll find out. But yeah, we're here. It's gonna happen. Okay, that's all. I'll probably check in when I submit it at this point. I got nothing else to say. Well, it's 9:30 on Sunday the 16th, and it's entered. So fingers crossed, I guess we'll find out what comes next. Hi friends. Hi. Oh gosh. It's been a bit since I've checked in, since I've submitted my whole query package. Oh gosh. So yeah, it is April 1st today. And what a ride this has been. So since we have submitted, basically there are a few things that the editors can and have to do. So in the can section, basically they can post teasers if they want. And some of the editors have been doing teasers the entire time they've been going through their queries and the manuscripts and stuff like that. The 3 that I picked had not been doing anything for like the last few weeks. And then Sunday happened, the 30th of March. And one of the editors I submitted to started posting a few things. The other thing is the stuff that they have to do, and it's a requirement that each editor post 2 parts of a 10 queries. So basically they give pretty generic feedback on the queries they've received, and whoever they pick, they can't tell until after the mentorships are made, like, and they announce who the winners are, but they will email and say like, hey, this was your tweet. So if you want to take feedback from that, like, it's yours. So none of the editors I submitted to have posted anything for the 10 queries yet either. And that just started on the 26th. So they still have some time because they have to do them by the announcement on the 14th. So they still have 2 weeks. But yeah, anyway, it's been like, I can't help but stalk. Like, this is the issue I have with doing contests, because then I'm like, I need to know details. Like, tell me things, tell me what I need to know. So I've been trying not to stress about it, which I have been doing a lot of workouts, and I've been doing things to like keep myself completely occupied, but not on blue sky fully. I have been working out, I've been going out, I've been working like on my actual job, which is 8 hours every day. So it's just kind of when I remember about blue sky, I'm like, oh, let me check. And on Sunday, finally, one of the editors started posting teasers. So I was like ready for it, and nothing really applied to me. And then I saw one tweet that was like, horror is not dark fantasy. And that gave me a few palpitations, because I'm like, oh no, like, is my genre wrong? Like, I'm pretty sure it's horror. But then I thought about it, and like, and she later clarified too that like dark fantasy is its own world. Like, you're in a different setting outside of our world. And I'm like, oh yeah, we're good. My world, that's not that. But yeah, so I was a little bit up in arms, but then like as I was thinking on it more, I'm like, yeah, that doesn't apply to me at all. So that's not my tweet. But still, the next 2 days passed, and I haven't really seen much else from anybody else. And then this morning I jumped on Blue Sky. It's Tuesday the 1st, by the way, and it's only 9 o'clock in the morning. But yeah, I saw that one of the other editors, which I think was like, out of the 3, it was my main person that I would love to work with, because she had so many things that were like buzzwords for me that I hoped would be buzzwords for her. So who knows, but she's been spamming. There's been a lot of teasers today, and like, so there's been a couple things about like, could this be mine? I don't know. But the one that like I saw this morning that I was like, oh, like, this could be me, maybe. And it was, this manuscript is such a good example of how story execution / approach often matters so much more than a totally new or never seen before idea. Bring your voice. Yes, that's what we want. So I don't know if it is mine, right? But it could be, because I have a non-unique idea, a vampire story, but hopefully told in a new and refreshing way. That's my goal with this book. The next one, also super vague, but this is straight from my manuscript wish list, and oh my God, this poor MC could also potentially be me, because again, the reason I chose this editor is because a lot of what she was hoping for is why I submitted to her. She wanted vampires, she wanted horror, she wanted like stories that focus on the characters rather than like the plot. So I submitted that. But again, this is all like possibly. And then there's been a couple other ones, the comps for this book. Did you see inside my brain? How did you know I want this? The log lines for my first few subs confirmed that we're so back. So that means whatever she's getting, she's really enjoying the log lines for. And she also posted her like percentages. So she had only 12% horror submitted. The biggest part was fantasy and romantasy at 66%, and then a little bit of science fiction and general lit fic. So yeah, I mean, we have no idea. I've gotten maybe anxious. I don't know if that's what the word is, anxious excitement. But I was like, oh, they're finally posting things. Like, maybe I'm gonna see something that I could take into consideration with like my book. But yeah, so anyway, that's where we're at. There's no real updates, and I can't for sure ever say any of these teasers or even the queries are going to be mine at this point until after everything ends anyway. So that's where we're at. No other updates. Okay, thanks guys for hearing me out. Okay, hi. I feel like I'm torturing myself. So it's April 2nd, and one of the editors I submitted to, at least so far, I've only looked at one, but she did her 10 queries. it's random. I don't know how many queries she got, you know, but I was at first, so I figured I would film this reaction. So the reason then that I don't think this is about mine is because it says your pages seem entirely unconnected to your query letter, which I know that's not true for mine. But also, if you are writing dual POV, you should always state that in your query letter. I am not, so I'm safe. That's not mine. So now I'm on Blue Sky, and I already see number 6 is another horror. So let's check it out. Could it be me? Okay, so potentially. This sounds more like a dark fantasy, not a horror, specifically dark urban fantasy. Dark and often horrific things happen in dark fantasy, but horror is a darkness that builds, constant eeriness, and usually a form of jump scares. But if you have a lot of magic in your book, it's probably a dark fantasy. Never mind, not me again, because I don't have magic in my book. All right, so we know that one's not mine. Okay, number 7, this editor, by the way, specifically requested horror. Like, that was what she wanted, so most of these are horror. Number 7, this is not something that I suggest often, but sometimes you need to ask yourself what POV would suit this story. Some stories would work better as first person rather than third, or vice versa. For this one, I suggest first person. That could be me, because I have thought about change. Mine is currently in third, and I've considered it if it should be in first person. So that could be absolutely true, because the last line she said, we feel too distant from your character's frustration. And my first paragraph, like my first chapter is like my character freaking out. So that could be me, and I think that's valid. And if that is me, because again, even if I don't get picked at the end of all of this, they will tell me, like, if one of mine was given the feedback. I think that'll be a really strong suggestion, and I probably will consider it for my third draft. All right, so this next one's definitely not me for adult horror. It says this might be the wrong genre, potentially paranormal dark romance. Not it. Number 10, it did say internal dialogue is chef's kiss. The spoken dialogue feels disjointed and doesn't seem to flow. When writing, ask yourself, does this add to the plot or character? Also, if something happened in the past, there should be a clear distinction, italics, or scene break or good options. That could also be potentially mine. Because if that's the case, if it's internal dialogue, that's a great, nice nugget of encouragement. She doesn't have, in my first pages, like, she doesn't have a lot of spoken dialogue though, so that's why I'm not sure if that one's mine. I could potentially, like I said, I think out of all these so far, the first person to third person POV, that one seems more like it would be my feedback, you know? And that was it. So that's all the potentials that could be for me, you know? I don't think I have much more to say, but it's definitely something to think about. Even if it's not mine, it is something to consider. I have read horror books that are in third person, and I have enjoyed them, especially given, like, some of the vampire books that I've read recently have been in third person. So I'm not completely, like, coming out of left field with that. But like I said, if that's a possible change to make, I am willing to make it. All right, let's see if anybody else has posted stuff before I back out. Okay, so the third choice that I had hasn't even posted a single thing, again, since we've submitted. Let's see for the last person. So far, she's only been posting teasers, but it doesn't look like there's been any new teasers either. So neither of my other two have said anything more. So that's where we're at. Okay, that's my musings. I'm gonna go back into my cave of anxiety now. Hello, friends. It is Wednesday, April 9th. We have 5 days left of this contest, and things are getting crazy. I don't think I'm anywhere closer to understanding if I'm going to get picked or not. But what I've come to terms with at this point is that if I don't get picked, it does not mean that I can't succeed in querying this novel. As somebody else stated, that there's kind of sometimes 2 reasons that people might get rejected, and one would be like there's too much work that needs to be done for the novel in such a short time span, because remember, this mentorship is an 8-week stint, so they need to do edits in order to fit an 8-week time frame. The other option then is too, if there's like not enough, or like, you know, there's a lot going for it already, it doesn't need the mentorship. So I want to be delusional enough to believe that if I don't get picked, I have a very strong query already and I could edit this book one more time on my own, maybe get some feedback and send it off to agents, you know, and I still feel pretty confident about that. So if I don't get picked in the end, it's fine. I think I'm going to do fine myself. But today, my top pick editor, if you will, the one that I thought vibed with all the things that she specifically wanted in a manuscript wish list, posted some query updates. And I'm not going to do my live reactions or go through all of them because I have already read it. I was in the car with my partner and I was like realizing that she was tweeting live essentially. Now this is on Blue Sky, but I don't know if you guys know, like, is there a proper way of like posting on Blue Sky? Like, are they called tweets like Twitter was, or are they called like flutters because they're like a butterfly? Anyway, I'm gonna call it a tweet for simplicity. So the tweets were going off live, and initially there wasn't a lot of horror, but then number 13 was sent out into the Blue Sky sphere, and initially I was kind of like, maybe. I'm like 95% sure it's mine now. And I'm excited if it is, because I did say it's a horror with like a sub-genre of fantasy. And so it is an adult horror fantasy, which is what I queried. The first part is on the query letter. And it says, if one plot point is split across 2 to 3 sentences, condense, zoom out, get to the inciting incident sooner. To be fair, I don't exactly know if that's like, if it's the first line or something like that. I'm not exactly sure. So if it is mine, I would want clarification on that because I'm not exactly sure what part that needs to be. This is where I thought it was, this is why it was me. Trim rhetorical questions. I have them. I know if you're new to querying, rhetorical questions are a big no-no. Generally speaking, people don't like them. I got cocky and a little too confident in Delulu, and I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna break the rule and maybe hope that I'm the exception. According to this editor, I'm not. And that's fine. It's fine. I can cut them. I still think my query was good. So trim the rhetorical questions, and antagonist plot twist can be more ambiguous. Absolutely good. Good to know. Good to know. Very clever job using comps to introduce additional info. So that part initially I was like, maybe that's not mine then. Because then I was like, I don't think I used my comps. And then so I went back to my query and I was like, oh, I do. Because in my query, I basically say, set in Pennsylvania, Appalachia. This book would relate to readers who love these 2 novels. And I forgot I did that. So I was like, oh, I did do it. So that was obviously I got bravo on that part. And then the nice thing, like I said, if this is mine, the main character feels so relatable, easy to root for. Yes. So that's all sent up. This is all speculation. I'm thinking it's mine. I'm 95% sure it is. We don't know though. But if it is, the next part for the pages, like over the moon if this is me. Because for the pages that go with that query letter, like the first pages, this editor says, we are right in the thick of it. Measured intro allows us to get a really strong sense of the main character's life before it is upended. Such a good example of when slow pacing is totally justified. Great job sustaining tension throughout these first pages. Strong opening spot. I want more. I hope it's mine. I think we all would want to know that it's ours. But like, I'm just so convinced because of the query. Like my query is that. Out of anything I've read, like that's it. You know? Like the other one, like just for an example to compare, like the 15th query that she did was also an adult horror, no subgenre. So again, like I did specify that mine was fantasy. And this one said like tone is excellent. My eyes went wide with excitement at the first lines. Watch out for places where info is mentioned twice and where and phrasing order creates some places a trim. So I don't think that's mine because I don't repeat. So there's just very specific wording that she uses in her tweet that really feels like it is mine in my soul. Like I got shivers talking about it again. So that doesn't mean anything as far as who gets picked, because she could say, this is my tweet and you have a very solid query and that's why I didn't pick you. Or it could be, this is a really strong premise. I have a vision for it. Like maybe you're the grand prize or the runner-up. Like either way, very exciting stuff. I'm just happy that I'm getting relatable and usable feedback. If you watched like a video in the past where I submitted a short story and my feedback was like completely unusable for my story, this feels just so rewarding in of itself. So far I had 2 of the 3 agents tweet some things out in the ether with their query/first pages, and both of them, there are potentially one that would be mine. So both of these editors, even if they're not mine in the end, it is something to think about. So there we go. That's my update for the 9th. We have 5 days left. I can't believe we're almost here. So this editor is going to be posting one more round of the 10 queries, and the other editor hasn't posted anything yet. So at some point she's going to be having to do 2 rounds as well. So I will see if I can get some more feedback. But here we go. Okay, that's all. Hi guys. So I think this is going to be my last official update because they announced winners on Monday. Crazy. I cannot believe a whole month went by. But I really just wanted to check in because the last editor that I submitted to, now this was like my long shot editor. I liked their vibes and I liked some of their history that might work well for like what my novel might be. But they had a very vague and like open like call. So I don't really hold a lot of faith that they will pick mine, but I decided it was a long shot, so why not? But they did make 2 10 queries posts, and the first one is the only one that included horror, and there's only 1 horror. And I was looking at the genre, and I don't know how many people submitted, but the horror makes up 7.1%. So that makes me think that there has to be at least more than 1 horror out there because historical fiction has 3.1%. So, and again, that makes, again, right, like you don't get, I can't imagine there's not more than 1. So that was their post, but I wanted to just real quick jump in about the horror because there's only 1 query. It's just interesting. So I don't know if it's mine, but I'll read you both the query critique and the pages. So for the query, it says, the tone and themes are strong, but the setup is too vague. If the premise hinges on a plot twist, it's okay to spoil it here. Grounding us in the actual conflict would make this far more effective. So, I mean, in my regard, I don't think mine's vague, but I guess maybe it could be for somebody else, I almost discounted this as mine, and I'm still not really, I don't feel like it could be mine because with the pages, like there is something to it that like my main character is alone, and that's what they say is the prose is evocative, but when the main character is alone for so long, the tension starts to flatten. Without interpersonal conflict or immediate external stakes, the horror doesn't have much room to build. Can we see more urgency or hint of threat on the page? So potentially it could be mine, but I do feel like she hasn't turned, like, so we start off with the scene of like, she's entering her house and she, like, something's already amiss and her mom's not there, but then she starts like kind of feeling like something's inside of her. Like she starts looking around her house, like there's a sense of urgency. And then at the end of the chapter, you find out that her mother steals her pill supply and she like starts tweaking. So I know that's not in my sample pages, but I feel like there is some kind of immediate conflict, but maybe not because she is like cleaning initially and like just trying to like ground herself. So potentially it could be mine. The only thing I'm going to say is I'm pretty convinced that the other editors was mine. And if that's the case, now if we're just saying hypothetically, if the other editors is absolutely mine and this one is absolutely mine, that means they are literally completely opposite feedback. Like it's literally a mirror, where the other one said that the query like was excellent and just needed like a little bit of cleanup. This one is saying that it's like way too vague. The same thing with the pages. Like the other one said like the slow, intense buildup was like, very evocative and interesting. And it was like a really good way to do a slow buildup. And this is the complete opposite. So I don't know. you know, like I don't know what it is. So I don't know if either of those are actually mine, but yeah, that's really it. That's the last check-in. On Monday, if any of those query information feedbacks are mine, I will know on Monday. I will also know if I'm a runner-up or if I'm a winner. And it's making me a little nervous because, like, the reality is if for some chance I get picked out of everybody else's, that means I have a lot of work to do in the next couple weeks on top of all the other shit I have going on in my life. I'm ready for the challenge, but like, goddamn. But if it's not, I'm so ready. Like, I think the feedback that I've gotten, if any of these queries are mine and like meant for me, when they tell me, I think I have a really great jumping off point of how to help make my novel stronger. So that's it. That's where we're at. I will not be back until Monday. And the thing that sucks is I have a very busy day of work on Monday and I have no idea what this is going to look like. So I may just be struggling to not be checking my phone every 3 minutes. And I don't even know what I should do, because like, how am I supposed to react at work? Like, I think I have to go the whole day without checking any socials. That's going to be hard. So, all right. Wish me luck, guys. Yeah. It's 4:15 on Monday, the 14th, guys. I don't think you guys understand how absolutely insane I've been today. I am sweating right now. My heart is going. I know that, like, I know for a living I tell people to manage their expectations. And I know logically I am as well. But, like, the possibility is just still exciting, you know? So I've been waiting all day to the point that I literally knew that there's 3 places I would know the results: Discord, Blue Sky, and my email. So I deleted Discord and Blue Sky right off my phone, and thankfully, because it's me and I have ADHD, I can't remember my passwords. So I couldn't even put them back on my phone. And trust me, I deleted them yesterday, tried to get back into my Blue Sky account yesterday, and couldn't because I didn't remember the password. And I disabled my Gmail account for the day. Like, not like I didn't get rid of my Gmail account. I just like disabled it in my apps, so that way I couldn't access it. My face is red now. Okay, I've just been a nutcase because I'm like excited and the possibility is so exciting. And I know at the end of this, I promise you guys, I am going to be okay. And I think I'm going to get valuable feedback in some form, even if I'm not picked fully. But I do have to admit that, like, getting picked would be awesome. There's no denying that. So the excitement is still there and a little bit of the nerves. And I will be real that I will probably be just a little disappointed. I think that's normal human experience. So, like, don't think I'm like this almighty person who's like, I'm going to accept whatever fate I'm going to have. I will eventually, but I might be bummed tonight. That is how we live. So, without further ado, I don't even know what I should look at. Should I look at Blue Sky first? Because that's where they did say they were going to announce it first. And then I can go into my email. And then I can see what the Discord says. Okay. All right. Let's just go. Let's get it over with. Okay. So at least my number 1 did not pick me, and that's okay. It's actually kind of interesting. It's a historical horror, so that's awesome. I'm very happy for that person. And honestly, I'm happy that a horror won. Okay, so the other 2 were not the ones I thought would pick me. So let's see if I'm having a really hard time navigating Blue Sky, to be honest. I will just say I am definitely devastated that the one person that I really wanted to work with did not pick me for the winner. That doesn't necessarily mean that I may get feedback from her, because what I've been reading is some editors do just give a little bit of feedback. So I could have been shortlisted. And from history, this particular editor, if she shortlists you, she may give a little bit more feedback too. So that's something to maybe look forward to. Okay, Kala was the other one. Kala went with a middle grade horror, so did not pick me either. And Tiffany did not pick me. Okay, so I didn't win, guys. That is okay. Definitely a little bummed. I was really hoping to work with Raquel, but from what I gather, if any 3 of them do send me any feedback, I think Raquel has in the past given some discounts for editorial services, so maybe that is something I will look into for this story. But overall, I'm not gonna lie, outside of being a little disappointed, I feel good about my story still. Like, I personally have a good direction for this edit coming up, so I'm not like, I'm not going to lose my mind. But yeah, it definitely was a little sad. I think understandably everyone would be a little bit like, well, that kind of sucks, you know? Okay. And I was not one of the runner-up either. So maybe potentially they will give me some good feedback and maybe I'm in a better position than I thought I was. You know, I'm assuming it was a pretty tight competition. I knew the chances were slim going into it because I joined the Discord, which has been blowing up all day. I can hear it going off in my headphones right now. So I am going to check in with that and see where everyone's at in the group. But yeah, it was a time and I don't hate it. I have a query package set to go and I could spruce it up a little bit, maybe get some feedback. Right now, it doesn't look like anybody has sent me anything, but overall, maybe I'll get something and I can use that to be able to proceed. So there we are. Hello, guys. I bet you thought you were going to see the end of me after that last clip. But alas, I'm back with one final update and exciting ones at that. So today is April 16th, and this is my final clip of the vlog. I just wanted to come in and wrap it up because it's Wednesday, and I have had 2 days to sit on the RevPit announcements. So I won't lie, I feel like I composed myself pretty well on Monday, but after I stopped vlogging and I kind of walked around my house, I was like, yeah, I'm definitely bummed. Like, I thought maybe, like, something more? I don't know. I think because I was, like, hyping myself up and I'm, like, delusional. Like, I wrote a good story. But maybe that was the problem. Maybe I did write a good story and I don't need all of that work. So you oscillate. I think I've said this before, but you oscillate between like absolute imposter syndrome, worthless mindset to like, I am a god and I can do everything. And yeah, I'm leaning more towards the godlike status now. And I think it's for a good reason. So I said, I think in my last clip that like people could still give me feedback. And of the 3 editors that I submitted to, 2 have given me feedback. The first one that got back to me was yesterday, and that was Kala. Kala was the one who specifically asked for horror, and I'm sure got a ton. I mean, most of her submissions were horror, so understandably so. But she told me that I was one of her 10 query tweets. But it's not the one that I thought. I was very shocked by that, and I guess I could see it now. After sitting on this, I gave myself 24 hours to really let it sink in, because I'm like, I originally thought that Kala had sent me the one about the POV, like saying from switching to third to first, but that wasn't mine. So that means it's good, because after I sat on it, I decided that I really like my story in third person, so I would switch it over, but I like it in third person personally. But the query that was actually mine was about my first pages, and it says, your first paragraph is a little too nail on the head. The writing is excellent, but you are giving away your inciting incident in the first 100 words. So first, I let myself accept the compliment. My writing is excellent? Like, what? Thank you. I was so happy about that. I mean, that's a huge compliment. Like, my writing is excellent. There. Boom. I could just put that on a wall and be like, thank you. I know what I'm doing. But I think she's actually true when I was thinking about it. My first paragraph uses a lot of references to monsters and like, it's like heavy-handed foreshadowing. And I get it. So what I think I can just change it to is to be a little bit more practical. And instead of talking about like, oh, I wish I'd be devoured by a monster, even though I love my first line, I could tweak it and still make it good, you know? I could make it something about like, you know, she wishes like a robber would come take her out. Like, I can make it more real world so that we know that danger is impending, but it's not what the danger is. So I was just really happy about that. I was like, okay, great. I didn't expect to get feedback and I didn't expect it to be that one. So that was cool. And then I got Raquel, and Raquel was the editor that I would have loved to work with because I felt like we jived in a lot of ways, and she had quite a few wants in her manuscript wish list. Guys, I got this at work and I legit cried. Like, I don't get super emotional like that, but guys, it was just feedback that I was like, wow, a professional in the industry told me this. So I will say, I don't think she read my full manuscript, but the submission that I gave, my query package, she absolutely read that. And this is what she said. Thank you so much for participating in RevPit this year and for submitting my story to me. It was one of my favorite books among my subs and a story that I was literally thinking about this morning as I was getting ready for work. Casey is such an engaging character, and the way you set us down in the first chapter is so immersive and evocative. Such an innovative twist on a vampire tale. I want it on my bookshelf. I need to read the whole thing. In case it wasn't already obvious, it was on my short list, which basically means in RevPit speak is that after all the subs, I made like one of the final cuts. Like she narrowed it down and was like, oh, this is a book I might want to work on, which huge honor in this community. I also picked your story for a 10 query session. Yay! I really enjoyed getting to read through your submission materials and wanted to follow up with the reveal. And then at the end, she said, all that said, I really hope the feedback has been helpful. Wishing you all the best as you continue on with your book. And please do keep in touch with any good publishing news. I'll be rooting for you on your journey. My query that she commented was what I thought it was. So that was so validating and confirming that she loved my opening and had some good query feedback. But otherwise, my query was good, which is awesome. That's a huge win. And ultimately, she also offered me 25% off on any editorial services that I might want. So that's a really good incentive. I could use that. Like I can reach out to her and use that by the end of the year. And if that's the case, then I might have a really solid query package if I choose to go that route. But yeah, that was such good feedback and like also like validating feedback. It was worth this whole thing. All this stress that I went through on Monday, it was worth it to read that and get that and have such a confidence boost in my story. The validating thing is now I can go back and I can tweak my whole novel. I can edit it one more time, get it out to some readers. And I know that my query submission package is pretty solid, which is great. That was just huge in general to know that. So yeah, I feel really good. Now, if Tiffany reaches out to me, I'm uncertain if she's going to, because I think I said in the last one that she had to have had at least one more horror out there. And if that's the case, it absolutely contradicts what Raquel's feedback was. And not that I would discredit it, but because Raquel specifically did want to work on horror and like had a whole manuscript wish list for the book that I was writing, essentially, Tiffany did not. She was very vague. She was open to any genre, and I don't think that horror was actually a top priority for her. Like I said, that was my long shot editor, but she had some personal life history that I thought could have been good as a good insight in my story, and that's why I ended up picking her. So long story short, I'm okay if I don't get the third feedback, and I may discredit it if I do, because like I said, she only did one horror. So if if she emails me, then it's that one, and I don't necessarily agree with it personally. It could all be just subjective, as we know. So what does that mean for me? Well, all said and done, I ended up joining the community for RevPit, and I now have a new critique partner out of this deal. We are both horror writers, and we are both working on adult novels that are very fun, and I think it's going to be a really good swap. This critique partner is already like so excited to read mine, like specifically asked like if we could swap it because she really liked my first 20 pages. So we need that kind of enthusiasm in this game, and I'm really excited to continue reading hers and working on that, and that's exciting. So I'm going to be back into editing, guys. We are working on draft 3 of Project Vampire and getting it tip-top shape to query. We're going to Queryville, guys. It's happening. So I feel really good. I feel really rejuvenated, and I think this experience was everything I needed it to be. So all said and done, do the thing, guys. If you have any type of contest out there or any type of, especially free ones that might get you somewhere further, do it. I will leave all the RevPit information down below because it is a free to submit to contest, and it can be very validating when all is said and done. And I think you guys should give it a shot if you're interested. I believe they do it once every year, so it won't be back probably till next year, but start following it now. They are active over on Blue Sky, and I literally made a Blue Sky account just for this contest, and maybe I'll be a little active over there now. But that's it. So that's where we're at. I'm so excited to get back into edits, and I feel just so alive with this story. So thank you guys so much for coming on this crazy journey with me and watching this long vlog. I hope it was fun and entertaining for you guys. And yeah, until next time, I'll see you then. Bye.